Hello, everyone. My name is Erik Thomas, and I am the editor-in-chief of the Quintessential Gentleman. And today we are talking to Erik Thomas, not me, but actually him, who is the Senior Group Manager of Experiential and Multicultural Marketing at Hyundai. And he's doing some great things, in charge of some great things. And it's so great to speak with you. How you doing, my brother?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, just trying to stay out of this New York City heat.
But I want to assure you, it's hot everywhere. It's hot
everywhere. The world is on fire.
Right,
we are just like, it's okay. Everything's okay. Awesome. So, first and foremost, thank you so much for speaking with us today. Before we dive in, I want to know kind of a little bit about your background and how did you get to this position? How did you get to Hyundai?
Oh gosh, thank you. Well, first of all, I'm Erik C. Thomas, not to be confused. And it is a pleasure, it's truly a pleasure to be here with you today. I am third generation automotive, and I started my tenure in automotive in 2000, so 20 years plus now. And I blink because I promise you, at one point I was the youngest person in the room, and that just changed. And now, not only betrayed by the gray hairs on my face, but maybe just a little bit of experience. So I started honestly on the phones with another OEM, and I just kind of learned the business and learned how to communicate with customers. And then I've done a variety of things, including run a training group, staff development group, hire people, run a QA group, do operations support, be responsible for quality for 4 cars. That meant everything, once the car was done being produced till it got into the customer's hands, I was responsible for everything that happened in between. And it just taught me kind of an interesting and different side of the business, gave me an appreciation for everything about what we're doing. But always I sought to do kind of marketing and communicate maybe on a macro and even a micro level, depending upon the project, with consumers. And so I started in auto shows and events in 2007 or 8, some time ago. And I developed, I love car shows since I was a child, going sometimes 2 and 3X. And then I got an opportunity to kind of run a program at Hyundai, and I joined the team in 2011. And from that time, actually just my responsibilities, I've been fortunate enough to have them continue to grow. Running the Hyundai Auto Show program, then running and launching the Genesis Auto Show program at some point, then taking on responsibility for all of experiential marketing. And just for context, I would describe that as anywhere you can literally touch and feel the brand outside of a dealership, right? So if you see us at a place where we sponsor, like SoFi or the Rams or the Chargers, you see us at an auto show, you see us at your favorite concert, etc. That's us. And in 2000, I think one of the best things born from sort of, people being stifled and being at home, but the unrest that happened was this recognition that there's something needs to happen. And our leadership was already committed to DE&I, but they put money behind it. And so they created this department, and they tapped me to lead and augment my responsibilities. And so I took on multicultural marketing, and now that includes Asian. Of course, we are a Korean automaker, so Asian marketing within the US, Hispanic marketing, and African American marketing within the US. And there's a commitment to dollars, and they're growing annually. And arguably, because all the marketing channels fight against each other for more cash, I would say, hey, it's not enough. I want more. But it's been a steady increase based on that recognition and based on the returns, right? I have to hit a target. The rationale is proven, of course, by the returns. And it's just a recognition of who we are and what we can bring, right?
Yeah. So what does your day-to-day look like for, in charge of kind of this group that focuses on experiential and multicultural marketing? So like, what is your focus kind of on a day-to-day basis?
So our brand's focus is really on connecting with consumers and humanizing what it is to be sort of like a monolith, right? So we make fantastic products, but it can feel distant. We make, I drive a fuel cell electric vehicle. It's really we're the only manufacturer to merchandise an SUV fuel cell in the US, right? And you can get one through dealers, but it can feel distant. People are like, what is that technology, right? So the idea is that how do we connect and show that we support people on their journey, on their ownership. And in particular, experiential is, I think, where we win, right? When we can get someone, what we'd say is a butt in a seat. When we can get someone in our car, that's when we hook them. We know, right? Like, and that's, and so we actually have, through Brand Keys, the highest loyalty satisfaction of returning customers. But as we continue to focus on growth, it's really focusing on conquesting. And so that's how we would win in an experiential space. And in African American, and I would say better in a multicultural space, our historical message was that we were on sale, but we really didn't bring the proof points. And we have a lot of great proof points. So what I like is that we put people first, communicate with people on their terms, on their culture, and humanize the brand in that way. And it's another facet, it's another conversation. It's truly fantastic because it's people forward. It's all about really people being able to see how we can support them on their journey of vehicle ownership.
Wow. And it's interesting because I don't, as just a car person or someone who, just buys a car, I think, social media in this digital age has now like really changed the understanding of vehicles, where people could just, Google, pick anything up, why I should buy this car versus that car, looking at certain things before you get them without having to be in a dealership and all that type of stuff. So it's interesting to see kind of even from a brand's perspective, now that you have those touch points, like you have to make sure that you're meeting people where they are, which kind of goes into the next conversation now of like Hyundai intentionally targeting, Black consumers, which, you had mentioned, 2020 kind of was a whole reckoning with that, but this direction, it came from that, but is there anything else to it that is that makes this consumer more of a promise than others, only because it's just, you guys, Hyundai has never specifically spoke to this audience, and I'm trying to figure out either one, why that is, and then also how did you move from there?
I would call so when I say we were telling we've definitely communicated with them, and we have actually the highest percentage of African American dealers of any automaker in the US. So there's definite communications, but I think it was more on a micro and very targeted level. I think what has been recognized is there's an opportunity to have an authentic conversation on a national level, and put money behind that with the notion that there will be the returns, right? So we already kind of over-index, so to speak, based on those who knew. Our products, 50% of our products are manufactured in Alabama. You can imagine in Montgomery, you know what that factory looks like, you know what the personnel looks like, it's fantastic. And I think this investment, and it's all part and parcel of just a greater goal to be a good corporate citizen. And follow me. Leading up to, we have put corporations, and I don't mean just minorities, but just in general, we as people have put a heavy burden and put corporations first in the US. Well, that comes with expectations. And if you're like me, you're looking at where your dollar goes. And if the company doesn't walk the talk, you know about it. Someone asked me the other day, like, oh, which kind of not utility, but home refurbishment, I forget what you would call the category, but home store would you go to, this one or that one? I'm like, I'm acutely aware that this one has a Black CEO. Yeah. We know those things. I'm acutely aware of this one supporting LGBTQ. I'm acutely aware of this one investing already in Black girls who code. we do those things because we have a greater expectation. And so we were already doing those things, but not really communicating them. But more importantly, we weren't having kind of that marketing conversation that matched everything else that we were doing. Our C-suite is probably one of the most diverse C-suites ever that I've seen. More women. We've got 3 African American in the C-suite, and it's growing. It continues to change and grow. I've never seen this in my tenure. So these are fantastic stories that match who we are, but we haven't promoted that. We hadn't had the conversation with the people. We hadn't shown the people why it makes sense for them to consider Hyundai, right? And so we partnered with our agency of record, right, where Randy's from, Culture Brands, led by Unique Jones Gibson. She's brilliant. Brilliant. I actually need to pause because she's so brilliant. But she understands people. She has rapidly come to understand our brand and our goal, and she helps us have that conversation. Our latest spot that just launched, actually, I'm sorry, that just launches tomorrow. So we have a new Palisade spot, and it's called Precious Cargo, and it's really sort of showcasing our new Palisade vehicle. Well, truth be told, the car always sold out, so we didn't really put money behind it when it first came out a couple of years ago. And in putting money, we're getting such a great halo effect, but we're also finding in talking to other markets, such as AA, where they didn't know that it existed, right? And so we use this spot where dad is chauffeuring daughter and friends to her first kind of formal dance, if you will, in the perfect ride. And it's just more of a heartfelt moment. But what it did was place beautiful, relatable, Black and brown young ladies and man in a vehicle where they hadn't maybe been able to see themselves. And I think that's so important.
No, I mean, and I haven't seen the spot because you said it comes out tomorrow, but I would assume it would be amazing. And I love, one of the reasons why, we created the Quintessential Gentleman was really to showcase even that right there, that fatherhood piece, the Black man that's in their child's lives, want to be a part of their child's life, because the media, commercials and TV shows and all that never showed that, right? So now we're starting to see more of commercials having that diversity that shows, Black men do take their kids to where they are. So I know that the emotional attachment from this commercial will definitely be filled.
And what I love, these spots are quote unquote aimed at African American, but we know that they have broad appeal. This is our 4th in sort of a series of spots since we started, and they do well. They do well. In some cases, I'm proud to say that we've, bested some of our general market pieces with these relatable spots because we're putting people and culture first, and that's ultimately what our brand is all about.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So I want to go back to your first commercial, the OK Hyundai, which did amazing. Hearing all the accolades, and I believe we actually posted about it when it first came out as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that first commercial and the approach to it?
So forgive me, I do want to correct you a little bit, and I want to say that OK Hyundai is this thread, and it's actually woven through all of our commercials. So you'll see it even in the new spot that launches tomorrow. The very first one that we shot it was called Homecoming, and it featured 3 young African American women headed off to a football game, presumably at an HBCU school. But it was just about that Black female joy, and that was showcasing our new Tucson plug-in hybrid. Immediately thereafter, we launched our No Stops, which was kind of our #1 performer in Q4 of last year. And No Stops featured a family going to see Big Mama, right? And OK Hyundai was woven through all of those, right? Like it's kind of our cultural hook, so to speak, but it's just so relatable. And then we followed that up with a spot featuring, again, OK Hyundai in the new Ioniq 5 that launched in Q2, Randy? Yeah, Q2 of this year, so last April. And that was for the new Ioniq 5 electric vehicle. And now you'll see it again kind of show up, and it is a thread, and it's part of our conversation, and it's recognizable. So I apologize. I probably am not answering your question.
No, that was fine. No, I get it. No, that's great. So you just mentioned electric cars. I want to know what is Hyundai's now, outlook into this electric space that we're in now. One, like what are, I know everyone's kind of shifting to it. What is Hyundai doing, and what are they looking forward to do in that space?
Yeah, a fantastic question. So the Ioniq 5 is just truly a game changer. And some of the attributes specifically about it are that it really helps overcome any sort of mental hurdle that anyone had with electric vehicles. So range anxiety, well, this vehicle gets 300 plus miles. Charge time, well, on a rapid recharge level 3 charger, you can charge from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes, right? So suddenly it's game changer. Oh, size, this is on sort of the same size wheelbase as a Palisade, but kind of the size of a Tucson vehicle, right? So it's an SUV, and it gives you a wide variety of usage. A matter of fact, it's got this feature called chargeback that you can actually plug and work in the vehicle, keep running the AC, go to a campsite, run your whole campsite, unplug and shut it off, and still have plenty of juice to get home, so to speak. So it's all of those game changer features that really makes it time for people to take a look and see if this fits their lifestyle. I think for us, we're aiming to take that story and make sure we bring everyone along, Hispanic, African American, Asian, as well as sort of general market and everyone that includes. But our story has always been, we are going to be a powertrain leader, we're going to be a mobility leader, and provide you the options that your lifestyle needs, be it a fuel cell vehicle, which I currently drive. And the key thing about that vehicle is that the only emissions that it emits is water vapor. So it's a fuel cell electric vehicle. So it's really fantastic for the society. And it runs off of hydrogen, and hydrogen is ubiquitous, so to speak. Be it an electric vehicle, or be it an internal or ICE or internal combustion engine vehicle that is currently out there. And we'll continue to make efficiencies there as well. But we want to just make sure that you have the options, that that we're the brand to deliver those for you.
And I've actually read too, just kind of doing my research, that Hyundai's like really pushing for the informative piece, right? Because I think too many times, people, buy cars and don't know, especially electric cars. I just see so many social media posts on not know how to use it and all that type of stuff, and not understanding, how it works. And I do believe, and you can speak to it, that Hyundai is like real big on like informing their audience about electric cars and what that looks like, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So there's another brand that's out there, and we're second to them, and they were sort of a leader. But the people that purchased and led were early adopters of a technology, and a little bit more agnostic to kind of some of the issues, right? That before chargers were everywhere, right? Yeah. But we're making a vehicle for everyone, and our price point is at that point. So we're talking to people who maybe didn't realize that this vehicle, that it could be for them, that they could get all the virtues of an electric car. So part of that inherently includes education certainly about the technology, about the vehicle, about resources, in general. And some of that is the benefit of everyone who's merchandising a vehicle in this market, but I think we're all sort of in that place at this time right now, as you're starting to see every brand kind of come out. So I think, if you think about who's making kind of electric SUVs right now, there's, Hyundai, of course, Tesla, Ford, Toyota's got something coming, Honda partnered with Sony, et cetera, et cetera. GM they have electric cars with the new Lyriq, right? But those are different price points. So, but if you're where we're at merchandising, really something that's for everyone, that price point means you've got to do a little bit more education.
Right. Of course. Perfect. And my last question is, what can we look forward to from Hyundai?
I think what you can definitely count on is continued communication. I'm excited. I'm excited, especially just to talk to the African American audience. Yes, I agree with some great things coming. We got a spot that launches tomorrow, obviously to support Palisade. Probably some new creative towards fall that will support one of our other SUVs. We're looking at some great relationships to augment our reach and direct communications as the world comes back out of COVID. So communicating directly to the audience, with the audience in person. I really can't say more than that, but it's coming. It's coming.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erik C. Thomas, for speaking with us today. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing more things from Hyundai, especially speaking to us. So we're here for
Count
it.
on
Thank
it.
you so much.
Always. Thank you. Thank you.